English One-on-One. In Part 3, we will talk about omitted subordinated that and tense agreement in independent and dependent clauses in one sentence. Now let's talk about noun clauses with the subordinated that. Let's look at the first example. I believe that he is right. Now in this noun clause, that is the subordinator, he is the subject. If the subordinated that is not the subject in the clause, it can be omitted. And you can say, I believe he is right. Now, just because you're omitting the subordinated that, it does not mean it's not there. It's always implied, because that's what makes a clause dependent. Let's look at another example. She said that we had to turn right. Again, that is the subordinator and the subject is we. Therefore, you can omit that and say, all right, she said we had to turn right. Now, if you look at this example, this that is the subject that comes with the verb is. On top of that, we have this first that is the subordinator. In this case, you can eliminate the subordinator, but not the subject. So you cannot say, I believe is the correct answer. You need to leave the subject in the clause. And all you can write or say is, I believe that is the correct answer, or I believe that is the correct answer. The next thing we're going to talk about is the tense agreement in noun clauses. Let's take a look. I know. This is our first statement, first I see. And we're connecting this, combining this with the second clause statement, he speaks English. If you put them together, one becomes a noun clause. And you say, I know he speaks English. Now, if you have the verb speak in the simple past, you just simply say, I know that he spoke English. There's no change. Now, what happens is the verb changes the tense, and now it's in the past. When the verb in the independent clause is in the past, the entire noun clause, the entire DC has to be aligned and agreed with an independent clause. So if you have I knew and the noun clause uses the word speak in present tense, you have to put this in the past tense. I knew that he spoke English. Even though he still knows how to speak English, grammatically you have to agree both clauses, the tenses in both clauses. Now, what happens if the second clause is already in past? Now you have to, as I say, double past it. I knew that he had spoken English. You cannot say, I knew that he has spoken English, because has spoken is present perfect. Let's look at these examples. I knew he is hungry. You write, I knew that he was hungry. I knew he was hungry. I knew that he had been hungry. I thought he lives in Canada. You write, I thought that he lived in Canada. I thought he lived in Canada. You write, I thought that he had lived in Canada. I thought he has lived in Canada for a year. I thought that he had lived in Canada for a year. I thought he has been living in Canada. I thought that he had been living in Canada. I thought he had been living in Canada, and you don't change anything here. You just simply copy, I thought that he had been living in Canada. Now, let's do some practice. Go ahead, pause this video, and try to find the incorrect sentences and fix them. Go ahead and pause, and when you're ready with the answer, unpause and check your answers. Let's go over some answers. I cannot travel to Russia. It upsets me. So you have a problem here. Two independent clauses connected by a comma. It's a comma splice. Now, instead, you can say, what upsets you? That I cannot travel to Russia upsets me. And you have this noun clause as the subject with the verb upsets. Do you know how long has it been on sale? Do you know how long it has been on sale? Remember, in the noun clauses, you cannot use the question order. Can you tell me who helped you to find this house? That is correct. It is vital that your mom wears a mask when she goes out. Now, this is incorrect. If you remember, the subjunctive requires verbs that emphasize emergency or urgency, and there's one of them. It's vital that your mom wear, and you just use wear, the simple form of the verb without particle to. The next sentence is correct. You're using subjunctive again. Her doctor recommended that she not go. That I have to take online classes don't bother me. Now, because your noun clause is the subject, it's one clause, it's always going to be singular, and therefore the verb will be singular in the singular form. That I have to take online classes does not bother me. She said that there's nothing better than swimming in the ocean. This is incorrect because of the tense agreement. The independent clause has the verb said, which is past tense. Therefore, the noun clause requires also the verb to be in the past tense. She said that there was nothing better than swimming in the ocean. I did not know you can play the piano. We have the same mistake here. I did not know is past tense, therefore can becomes could.